guys, this is Jay. I'm a developer relation engineer at Aptos Lab. And today I'm gonna make a short video on how you can build on Aptos using the GitHub Codespace. So first of all, let me give a brief intro on what is GitHub Codespace and why we wanna use it. So GitHub Codespace is basically a remote server for you to build software. So the traditional flow for development is usually like you would clone this repo, for example. This is a repo for a full stack template on Aptos. You clone this repo to your desktop and just start the development. But the downside of that is that you need to install a bunch of dependency, especially when it comes to crypto development, where you need to install the chain CLI, you need to install Docker, and you need to install Rust, because Aptos is a Rust-based chain. So the Aptos CLI and a bunch of other stuff like indexer, it all depends on you have Rust installed. So if we use Codespace like aka the dev container, then we would have all this dependency pre-configured for you, and you would just start the development right away. And another issue with local development is that let's say you are developing from like you're located in China, where there's some network issue for you to connect, like either pull image from the Docker registry, or you have an issue connecting to the Aptos RPC. The dev container, like the Codespace, also solve this problem, because when you use it, you're essentially developing from a remote server that's probably located in like Singapore or in the US or in Europe. So it doesn't have the network issue that you would face if you are in China. So this is why like we recommend using the Codespace as an alternative development environment. And now let's try to create a Codespace and see what it looks like when we run it. So the way you create a Codespace is pretty straightforward. So normally you clone it. This will clone the repo to your local machine. To use the Codespace, we just go to this tab, and we can create a new Codespace on this repo. You can also choose the branch and how you configure it. But in this case, we already have a pre-configured container profile that will install like Rust and Docker, all that stuff for you. So you don't need to do anything, you just create it. Now I already have the container created. So the container creation can probably take like 5 minutes. So it's a bit slow, you just need to wait it. And now I already have the container created on my side. Now let's go to VS Code and see what it looks like. So this is my local repo, but let's open a new window in VS Code. So in VS Code, there's this extension called Remote Explorer. And you can see once I log into GitHub, it will show all the Codespace I have. And this is the one I created earlier. And I'll click this button to connect to the Codespace. You can usually take like probably up to a minute or two to connect it, because this is remote. Okay, now that we have successfully connect to the remote server, we can see here are all the files, and let's open the terminal, and we can see Docker should be already available. Yeah, it's available, and Aptos CLI should also be available. And all the Rust cargo stuff is also available. So the Aptos CLI needs to be installed manually after you create the code space. But since this is an existing code space, I already have it installed. And another nice thing about the code space is like it's persistent, so you can reuse the same code space. And also it's pretty easy to just to reset. You just delete it and create a new one. And now let me show you another trick that is pretty cool. So we go to the Next.js repo, Next.js directory for the frontend. And I already run an npm install before, so I can just run it. So this will run the Next.js frontend inside the dev container, like the remote code space. But I can actually access it from my desktop. We're gonna see that in a second. You can see there's still some background work running here, but we should be ready pretty soon. Okay, now the dev container is smart enough to automatically forward this to our local machine, so we can access it from our own desktop. This will take a second for Next.js to compile. And let's just have the wallet ready first. This is a testnet wallet. Okay, so you already load. And let's try to send a new message. So send this by sending a new message, it will actually send the transaction to the chain. And here, like, although we are sending this transaction from it looks like we are sending the transaction from the local machine, but I actually send the request to the remote server first, and the transaction is actually submitted to the chain from the remote server. So this solves the issue where, like, in case the Aptos RPC is not available in my local network, if I'm in China. Let's send a gmu. And you can see the transaction has been submitted, and its page website already refreshed. And now let's take a brief look at the README file. Now let me close the server. So okay. Yeah, so I have a little notes on the GitHub Codespace. So basically, if you decide to use a GitHub Codespace, whether because you are on Windows machine, so it's pretty difficult to set up the environment, or you have network issue, we all recommend using GitHub Codespace in this case. And once you create the Codespace, all you need to do is run this. This will install the Aptos CLI, so you can then deploy the contract and test the contract. And we also have this helpful script for you to clean up the Docker cache, because there's a limited storage for the dev container. And if you see like warning in from Codespace, like your container is running low on storage, you just run this command that will tell you how much space the Docker cache is taking, and it will also prune it. So that's it. This is all I wanna show you guys about GitHub Codespace. Hopefully this video is helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to open a thread on our discussion forum, which is here, or you can also contact me on Twitter at 0xAptosJ. Okay, bye bye. Thanks.